Hi everyone. Today is Friday, August the 2nd, 2024, and I am recording this because I guess some portion of the audio of the recent Dragon Naaga Sarpa family tree / lineages, that video of mine, some of the audio wasn't that great, and I figured instead of trying to re-edit that one, I would just go over quickly and sort of in summary form some of the things that I was stating there. So first of all, some preamble about why I made that video. So one of my classmates was interested in sort of exploring if there was any relation between the Naga constellations, or the serpent-like, or the dragon constellations, because this was in tropical astrology, and what I practice is Jyotish. So the question was, is there any correspondences with like dragon-like constellations and volcanoes and such? And the thing is, I know that in Vedic lore there is plenty of that, and there is a lot of correspondence with that. So I figured, hey, you know what? I let my classmate know. And so since our teacher didn't want to go into it like in too much detail at that time, we decided, I said I would take it offline, and that was my offline attempt to do so. So please note that I feel like I'm still researching this, so don't take what I say as gospel. Use your own mind, and as one of my amazing teachers, Miss Eve G. Mendoza, who doesn't practice Jyotish anymore, she always began with she'd always begin with the prayer, which I already did beforehand, before recording this one, but she would always begin with the preamble, "May you be protected from my ignorance." So if there's anything that I say here that is not aligned, may it not reach you. And so with that, I'll begin. So I began sort of with the old dragons, right? And how do you even introduce the concept of the old dragon? That would be with the previous pole star that we had. And that old pole star, because the pole star changes with the wobble of the earth. And I think the video or the audio of my presentation where that portion of the thing went off or was like not audible, was actually this section, interestingly, where I'm also having road blockages or merging things. But anyway, so what I was explaining there with the help of Stellarium, and giving credit to the astrologer, he is an astrologer too, but astronaut Gemini Brett, who actually first introduced me to Stellarium, and Stellarium is just wonderful. So go on stellarium.org or .web, regardless if you Google the word, you'll find it, or just go to my other video and see at least the visuals over there, because the wobble of the earth is how our pole star changes. And the reason why the pole star matters is because once you've determined a pole star for that time, your time-space continuum, right? The pole star, if you just look at it as on the horizon, like if you're a sea navigator, you take the pole star, whichever is the pole star, whether it's Tuban, whether it's Polaris, whether it's Vega, whatever it is, you anchor onto the pole star, and then you just draw a line down, and where it lands on your horizon, that is true north. That's how you navigate. Okay, and if there's one thing I'm really good at in my life, it is navigation. because I know a lot of times people do not expect a female to be a good navigator, but I am a good navigator, knock on wood, and thank God. So, but that's how you find out true north. And so this is where the pole star matters. So now back in the, I guess Egyptian time, long ago, the pole star used to be a star called Thuban. If you want to see where that is, see the other video with the graphics, or see the go to Stellarium and find Thuban. Now when you look at Thuban, it sort of comes in the tail of the Draco constellation. Draco. Now here's what is interesting. Draco constellation is it's above the Big Dipper or Ursa Major, the Big Bear, Big Dipper, Ursa Major, and in Vedic astrology and in Jyotish it's called Sapta Rishi Mandala. And Sapta means 7, Rishi is the sages, so it's a 7 sages. And it is believed that all of us come from that lineage of those 7 sages. Now there is an 8th one also introduced, and here's the interesting thing: the 8th one is Canopus and is called Agastya, which is on right on the other side, like lower. I guess declination wise it's lower than what is that one called? Lower than Hydra, okay, but in between, above Eridanus, below Hydra, and well below the Regulus and the Magha constellation, Magha Nakshatra. So that's sort of where Agastya is. And so then in my presentation, let me go back to Draco and to Thuban. So many of you may already know the story about Vritrasur, the dragon of the sky, who's also associated with the I can never pronounce this word, God help me, cumulonimbus cloud. The one that collects the big dark gray cloud that collects all the rain. So it's also associated, this honor it, but this being is also, this sky dragon Vritrasur is also associated with the cumulonimbus cloud, and it is said that Indra, and that's a whole different story. Whenever I make the video of Chitra Nakshatra, and I explain to you the sort of how he got about, with the weapon of the thunderbolt and all that, I'll go into that whole story then. But essentially, the story is that Indra, at the time he was Prajanya, before he became Indra, or because Indra is a title more than an actual, it's a designation rather than the name. So Prajanya freed the water goddess by slaying Vritrasur, the sky dragon, with his thunderbolt weapon that he made out of the backbone, the spine of sage Dadichi. Now, and the designing and all that was by the grandfather of Chitra, and then, I'll not go there now. In any case, so here's where this matters. I was hypothesizing in that video that I was where my classmate, my colleague, was asking me questions about this lore. I was going into how I wonder whether that story of Indra defeating Vritrasur is actually a metaphor to say that now the age of the Draco, where Thuban is our pole star, is finished. Now we have Polaris as our pole star, because Polaris is like a little bit above the Saptarishi Mandala, and then it was said that we originate from the lineage of day 7/8 sages. I wonder about that. It's just a working hypothesis in my head at this point. So so I was wondering about that, because so much is metaphor in these things. So much is actual scientific truths, like like the changing of the ages, right? Like we say, oh, in another 100 years or so we'll have the age of Aquarius. What does that actually mean, age of Aquarius? It means that every 72 years our we change, like, or 1 degree. Okay, the everything moves 1 degree by every 72 years. So if things change by 1 degree, then suppose you have 0 degrees of Aries, or the spring equinox in the zodiac of I can't say zodiac, because look, at some point the spring equinox used to be in Kritika Nakshatra. At some point the spring equinox changed to Ashwini Nakshatra. And I think that age of Aquarius will happen when the spring equinox changes to Shatabisha Nakshatra, which, by the way, if you I don't know if you listened to my video, a 3-part video of Shatabisha Nakshatra, but I spoke about this there also, because in the Catholic Church also, and I am Catholic, even there I'm a Catholic and I'm Indian, so whatever, this is not heresy. One is culture, one is religion, whatever. If people don't like that, just turn it off. Why are you wasting your time listening to me anyways? But anyways, otherwise hit like, share, subscribe and all that nonsense, but whatever. Okay, so the Catholic Church follows Ash Wednesday, 40 days, right? That Ash Wednesday date is an anchor around Mahashivratri time, and it's always, okay, granted it's a Wednesday, but that is always held, or the start of Lent is always held on a Wednesday before or after Mahashivratri. That doesn't change. So clearly the Roman Catholic Church knows something about the constellations, and I can say more about that, but I won't at the moment due to NDA. But anyway, so this thing, so I wonder if it is a metaphor, right? In the future, when Vega becomes a pole star, I wonder whether there'll be some future being where it'll be said that, oh, we all descended from from the pot of water, right? That's who we descended from, and there will be like a new Christ consciousness of who our Savior is. Because there's a lot of metaphor even in the Jesus stories in the Bible. In the Old Testament there's plenty, but even in the Bible, even in the New Testament, even in all the things that Jesus has said, there is plenty of correspondence to astronomy, to the stars, to the constellations. For example, quick sidebar here, the 2 loaves and the 5 fishes, right? 2 loaves, Revati Nakshatra, the constellation of the fishes, Pisceum constellation, yeah? Not Pisces, the zodiac sign. That's a Earth astrology concept, and Earth astrology is a Gemini Brett word. You should look him up on YouTube. He is an amazing astrology teacher and an amazing astrologer as well. I have actually bought songs from him because he designs, he composes songs, and then another guy plays them, or maybe the other guy designs a song, but Gemini Brett comes up with the what the soul song is like. I've actually got those for my kids, and it's quite revelatory, especially since I love music. But anyways, went off on a tangent there. Where was I? Turning of the ages. No. Oh yeah. 2 loaves. 2 fishes and 5 loaves. 5 is the constellation of Hasta, which is in the Virgin, who is holding the 5 sheaves of wheat or something, right? That's the 5 loaves, people. That's the 5 loaves, and that the 2 fish are the Pisceum constellation, and if you see those two, they are like bang opposite each other. The same way as back in the way old days in the Persian era, like when they said that, oh, it's the age of, like, you know, this thing about like the bull and the scorpion, and you know, the eye of the bull and this guy from you know, the southern nakshatra, like shooting his arrow and slaying the bull. That was the end of the age of the bull, meaning when the spring equinox was no longer in the constellation of the bull, but now the spring equinox had changed to the ram. And then when Jesus died, you know how there's so much stuff in the Bible about, like, you know, the sacrificial lamb, but the lamb was slain, right? That's like the killing of the lamb. Now it's the end of the age of Aries and the start of the age of Pisces, or yeah, the age of the ram, end of the age of the ram and the start of Pisces. Next one will be Aquarius, and that one will be, I believe, in around Shatabisha time, or like or when the spring equinox changes to Shatabisha. But in any case, back to this thing with the lineages of the dragons. So the one of those dragons is Thuban. Okay, now the Saptarishi Mandala. Okay, the 7 stars and the 7 rishis are Marichi, which corresponds to Al-Qaid, Vashishta corresponds to Mizar, Angiras, which corresponds to Alayab, Atri, which corresponds to Magrez, Pulastya, which corresponds to Fekta, Pulaha, which corresponds to Merak, and Kratu, which corresponds to Dube. And then Canopus, our word for it, in if you change the settings on your Stellarium to Indian Vedic, it'll say Canopus is Agastya. And here is where it kind of becomes slightly open to interpretation on my part. When you take the Gotra Rishis are sort of your lineage. Okay, now Marichi's son is Kashyap. But now, so I'm taking a bit of a leap here in saying, okay, is Canopus actually Kashyap? I don't know. Then Vashishta remains Vashishta, Angiras becomes Bhardwaj, Atri stays Atri, Pulastya becomes Gotama. And by the way, all of these have planetary alignments also, like, or rather planetary natures, like they're similar to certain like planets in the rishis have certain similarities to certain planets, and this it's interesting because there's some that I can see, like it's pretty direct, like for example Bhrigu and Venus, like that's pretty obvious. Vishwakarma and Sun, again, that's also obvious. But there are some where, oops, too close. There's some where I'm just not sure. So that is open to interpretation. So anyway, so Bhrigu's son is Jamadagni, and yeah, and the rest of the names remain the same. I printed this out because I knew I would not remember this, but here you go. These are the, do you see it? Okay, and pardon my nails, but whatever. You're not here for my nails, hopefully. You're here for the knowledge. Now, and if you want this visual properly in a PowerPoint form, you can also go to that other video that I recorded explaining this to my colleague, and you can take snapshots from there. So okay, now each of these planetary natures, yeah. Now I have flipped it a little bit, and I have hypothesized, because, oh, by the way, so according to the Brihadnyayaka Upanishad, and the Jaimaniya Brahmana, according to these two books, there is some difference between between the these lineages, and so I will show you that here, which is what prompted me to make that leap of saying, is Canopus really Agastya? Is Canopus Kashyap? And yeah, because Agastya does correspond quite a bit to Mars, and Though, you could argue both ways, because after all, isn't Mars like Bhumi Putra Mars? So like, and we are all Bhumi Putra, so we are all, born of the earth. So that's what Bhumi Putra means. So yeah. And then I went into sort of the main snakes. Actually, wait. Then I went into Rishi Kashyap and his 13 wives. And among his, so I think that part of the audio was pretty clear, because I went through each of the wives and sort of the species that originates from each wife. And then I focused in on Kadru and Vinata, because that's sort of where the main maybe clashes between the snakes, the sarpas, the nagas, and the dragons versus the birds, or primarily the one bird, Garuda. Though she did have 2 children, and I described the story there. So check that out if you feel like it. Okay, now in the big sort of main big snakes, there are 7. I find it interesting that everywhere there's like this 7 thing and this 12 thing going on. I'll read out the names of the 7. Vasuki, Anantashesha, Ahi Devtas, Ahi Devtas, Aja Ekpad, Ahir Budhinya, Manasa Devi, and the Manasa Devi's child Astika, Takshak, and Rishi Arbud. And then one interesting thing that I wanted to mention in that video, but I kind of forgot during the flow of the conversation, is that Vasuki is the bearer of Nagmani. And a lot of people, like, they try to sell this Nagmani and all that. No one knows if it's really genuine or whatever. But I looked into what this Nagmani actually is. And it's actually a calcified venom gland, okay, in the forehead of or wherever the snakes hold their venom. I believe it's in their forehead somewhere, where they, when they put out their biters, their teeth, fangs. So this calcified venom gland, I invite you to consider the calcified venom gland as a metaphor for someone who is very capable, but who knows how to keep their sword in their scabbard, so to speak. Like in the Bible, there's a thing, the meek shall inherit the earth. And what is the meaning of the word meek really? Okay, like, don't think meek means like some sissy, person. No, the meek person is somebody who has a sword, who knows how to use it, and chooses to keep it in the scabbard. That is the meaning of the word meek, really. So someone who has teeth but will not bite. And so this calcified venom gland is like, this person has been able to like control their ability to unleash on someone to such an extent, and that is why they're powerful. That's why Vasuki is so important and a powerful Naga. Ananta Shesha, I wanted to mention that the meaning of the word Ananta is unending. Shesha means remainder. Interestingly, that's like the Alpha and the Omega, if you think about it. Wow, this is pretty cool. A bee came outside and began to buzz on my window. Interesting. Hello, Rahu. Aja Ekapad is, I believe, around Pegasus constellation. Ahir Budhnya is, I believe, around Andromeda constellation. Mansa Devi, there is a constellation called Mensa. And again, all these you can look it up on Stellarium and just put these constellation names, you'll see it. When you see it, if you want to look at the visuals on my video, on my other video, you're welcome to do so. You can even take snapshots. These are all pictures that I've seen on Wiki and on, on the internet anyways. Like, none of it is like some original creation of mine. These are just things I have gathered and trying to make sense of and putting them together in a coherent, or maybe I don't know about coherent. That's kind of like beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. Even coherence lies in the eyes of the in the brain of the understander. But I just tried to put it together because a lot of these things are mentioned in Hindi, in Sanskrit, in Vedic lore, very like casually, and just like this. If you're raised in India, you know this. But a lot of times here, at least in the States or Western folks, don't know this. So that's why I figured I would just explain it in a way that ties it to constellation, then you can look it up. Because a lot of this, I mean, not a lot of this, all of this, Jyotish is not woo-woo. It's a science. It's a sacred science, but it is a science. So, and a lot of times scientific fact is spoken of in metaphor. And so that's why I wanted to make these kind of videos. Now, what I closed with, or rather here, this one, here, this table that I have here is, hopefully you can see it. If not, just pause, zoom in. This video, I mean this picture here, I do have one table like this in my other video, but these are the 12 Nagas. So the other one was 7, which I just spoke of. These are the 12, and these 12 are the same ones who were invoked in the opening prayer and chant that I did not attach this time. I only did it for my own personal self before even beginning this recording. But it's in the video, it's in the other video. And the source for that chant is the Sanskrit channel. Do check them out. They have a lot of excellent stuff that they're attempting to make more accessible to Western folks and to people who, even Indian children who are like not very exposed to all of this. So in that I mentioned sort of like, okay, so Sheshnag is what remains. I believe that's the Uttar Bhadrapada nakshatra. Vasuki, Nagmani bearer, calcified venom clan, I just spoke about that. Takshak was slain by Indra. I wonder if that's correlated with Draco, or if it's correlated with Ophiuchus. Not sure, because Ophiuchus and the snake that's near there, Serpens, that's also there's a correspondence in Catholicism with Saint Michael and that snake that's under his foot. So there's so much similarity everywhere. It's pretty astonishing. Ajay Ekpad, who attained Swarga during the burning of the Khandwa forest, and that's why I'm wondering, the fire correlation. Asika, in bracket Mansa Devi, because Mansa Devi is basically the mother of Astika, and I believe that one goes with Reticulum constellation. Karkotaka, sorry, I misspelled it there. Karkotaka is the correct name of this snake. Vaitriyani is the river serpents. Hirbudnya is Samudra and Patala. Again, okay, that one also sounds like Andromeda or Pegasus. But now that I think about it, the Pegasus one, the story of Uchashrevas, the white horse that, the trickery story between Vinata and Kadru, and there's a white horse in there. And I wonder whether that is in fact the Pegasus constellation. So, obviously this is like a matter of open research, open interpretation that I'm contemplating. So, and then, okay, the serpents living in the mountains and mounds, etc. I was wondering who that might be, whether that would be Vritrasur. Actually, now that I think about it, I think, I don't know. Just you contemplate it. Wandering serpents, I wonder if that's Hydra, the Nagas, the earthly snakes, Sarpas, and the constellation of serpents. Ananta of Rasatala, I'm wondering if that's Nirti, because venom, like in the Sanskrit channel, he uses the word venom, but I think venom in the sort of Sanskrit concept, venom, vish, these words, they are associated more with alchemy and with like strong chemicals, not with poison, like not poison the way we think of it. I mean, of course, you could take a strong chemical and get killed from it. That's different. That's poison. But necessarily in Sanskrit, that's not what they're talking about. And they also talk about like creations and creativity. And that was why I also wondered, well, is that one of Vedas? So anyway, so these are just my my sort of working hypothesis and research so far. And I thought I'll make this one so that whoever of you had had any issues with the audio of the other one can supplement your understanding with this one. Okay, thanks so much. Take care. Have a nice day, and have a good weekend, because this coming weekend the new moon is in Ashlesha, the Nagas. So go Nagas. But oh, and also I think it's interesting / ironic or whatever that I'm recording this sort of re-record / fixing the other one on today, Friday, August the 2nd, on a Punarvasu day, because Punarvasu is known to be like for repeating things, or for repeating things you didn't get right the first time, or if you do anything new, you'll be repeating it again and again. So yeah, so I hope this was useful, and take care. Bye.